Worthington raises cylinder prices 10% as steel nears $960 per ton. Worthington Enterprises announced it will raise prices by up to 10% on steel refillable cylinders used for refrigerant, foam, and adhesive products, along with 200 and 420-pound heating and system tanks. The increase takes effect March 1, 2026, for new orders or as contracts permit. The company cited continued cost escalation in key raw materials, including steel and brass. The move reflects a broader pattern across metals-intensive manufacturers that are adjusting pricing structures as commodity volatility persists into 2026. Steel pricing remains well above pre-2020 levels. U.S. hot-rolled coil (HRC) steel prices remain elevated relative to historical norms. Recent market data show U.S. Midwest HRC trading in the $960 per short ton range in early 2026. Benchmark U.S. steel averaging roughly $940 plus per metric ton in January 2026. Scrap steel inputs fluctuating between $350 to $450 per gross ton, depending on grade and region. Steel represents the dominant cost input for pressure-rated cylinders and heating tanks. Product wall thickness, safety standards, and regulatory certification requirements limit opportunities to reduce material content, making pricing adjustments one of the few mechanisms available to offset cost increases. Upstream producers continue incremental increases. Several metals and industrial manufacturers have taken similar actions in recent months. Nucor Corporation raised its published hot-rolled coil base price to approximately $960 per short ton in January 2026, increased galvanized steel base pricing to roughly $1,050 per ton in late 2025. These incremental base price adjustments signal sustained cost management across upstream steel production. Steel Dynamics reported $4.41 billion in fourth quarter 2025 revenue. Earnings per share rose to $1.82, up from $1.36 a year earlier. Management attributed performance to pricing discipline and raw material dynamics, reflecting participation in the broader steel pricing cycle. Mueller Water Products reported Q1 fiscal 2026 net sales of $318.2 million. Gross margin expanded to 37.6%, supported in part by pricing actions. The company noted that pricing helped offset tariff exposure and component inflation, including brass and iron-based inputs. Pentair implemented a standard annual price increase effective July 1, 2025, cited materials and wage inflation across multiple product lines. Brass adds secondary cost pressure. Brass pricing tracks movements in copper and zinc markets. Copper trading near $370-$420 per pound in early 2026. Zinc hovering between $110 to $140 per pound. For cylinder valve assemblies and fittings, brass components represent a meaningful share of total production cost, compounding steel-related pressures. What this signals for industrial buyers, Worthington's 10% increase reflects more than a routine adjustment. It signals that metals volatility continues to shape pricing strategies across the industrial supply chain. For HVAC distributors, chemical suppliers, and heating system contractors already managing compressed margins, timing is critical. Spring ordering cycles are approaching, and purchasing decisions may now carry greater exposure to upstream steel movements. Contract structures, particularly escalation clauses, will determine how quickly higher input costs move downstream. When mills publish base prices near the $950 to $960 per ton range, downstream manufacturers face limited flexibility. Absorbing costs reduces margin, passing them through tests customer tolerance. Increasingly, companies are choosing the latter. For manufacturers operating within regulated safety frameworks, redesigning products to reduce material intensity often requires recertification. In that environment, pricing discipline becomes one of the few available levers to maintain financial stability. Metals pricing has moderated from pandemic peaks but remains elevated enough to influence contract strategy, purchasing timing, and margin planning across 2026. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.